Olivia watched the 5 Yaxian cubs explore their new home at the Earth Alliance Special Care Facility, located in the Arizona desert. The climate here was the closest match to their native environment, warm and dry during the day, cool at night. 6 weeks had passed since the rescue from planet Keelar, and the cubs were adapting well to Earth. Each day brought new discoveries and progress. The smallest cub with iridescent blue scales had chosen the name Sky, while the others had selected Ruby. Lily, Max, and the oldest Violet, who had spoken up during the confrontation with Commanders Exortidae, was special, Olivia thought as she observed them from the observation deck. Today the Galactic Council representatives would arrive to assess the situation. The Yaxian Empire had filed a formal complaint demanding the return of what they called their property, and Earth needed all the allies it could get. Dr. Patricia Morgan, the lead xenobiologist, approached Olivia with a tablet of readings. "The cubs are showing remarkable cognitive development," she said, "especially Violet. Her mental capacity is off our charts." Olivia nodded. "We suspected the Empire was suppressing their natural abilities." Patricia gestured toward the habitat where the 5 cubs were working together to solve a complex puzzle, designed to test both their problem-solving skills and their psychic abilities. A unique trait of their species. The Empire treats them like computers, but they're so much more. A soft alert chimed throughout the facility. Olivia straightened her uniformed council representatives arriving in 10 minutes. The automated system announced. Olivia felt her stomach tighten with anticipation. Everything they had worked for would be judged today. The future of the cubs and possibly relations between Earth and the Yaxian Empire hung in the balance. She made her way to the landing pad where Captain Ava Martinez was already waiting. The desert wind tugging at their uniforms, ready to face the music. Lieutenant Ava asked with a slight smile. "As ready as we can be," Olivia replied. The council ship descended gracefully from the clear blue sky, a sleek vessel that seemed to absorb sunlight rather than reflect it, unlike the aggressive angles of Yaxian ships or the practical designs of Earth vessels. The council ship embodied the neutral diplomatic stance of the organization it represented. 3 figures emerged from the ship. 2 were instantly recognizable species: the tall, willowy Maclari with their translucent skin and the stocky Durante with crystalline growths along their arms. But the third was unknown to Olivia. A small figure completely covered in shifting silver fabric that moved like liquid with each step. Captain Martinez stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth Alliance territory, representatives. We are honored by your presence." The Maclari representative inclined her head gracefully. "I am Elder Sora. This is Ambassador Krell of the Durante Federation and Archiver, Taz of the Collective. We are here to assess the situation regarding the Yaxian juveniles and determine the validity of both Earth's protection claim and the Empire's ownership claim." Olivia led the representatives through the facility, explaining the circumstances of finding the cubs, their request for asylum, and the subsequent standoff with Commander Zaxxer. She was careful to present only facts, leaving judgments to the council as they approached the habitat. The cubs noticed the visitors. Immediately their reactions varied. Sky immediately hid behind a rock formation while Violet moved forward curiously. Max and Ruby stayed together, watching cautiously. Lily, the second smallest, positioned herself where she could see everything. Elder Sora spoke softly to her colleagues, observed their behavior. Independent thought, varied responses. These are not the conditioned responses the Empire described in their report. Archiver Taz. The silver-clad figure moved closer to the habitat barrier, its covering rippling like water. The Empire claims they are property bred specifically for navigation systems and strategic calculations. Is this accurate? Olivia chose her words carefully. The cubs have demonstrated abilities that would be valuable. For such purposes, yes, but they have also shown creativity, empathy, and desire for self-determination. All qualities the Galactic Council has previously ruled as indicators of sentient rights. Ambassador Krell rumbled in his gravelly voice. The Empire has controlled Yaxian space for 12,000 years. They have provided stability and order in their sector order through subjugation. Olivia countered respectfully. The cubs have shared memories of their training. It was not education, but programming, designed to limit their potential while exploiting their abilities. Inside the habitat, Violet approached the barrier, looking directly at the representatives. "We wish to speak for ourselves," she said, her voice clear and confident. "Elder Sora looked, surprised but nodded. Please do. Young one Violet straightened to her full height, still small compared to the adults, but somehow commanding the attention of everyone present. I speak for my clutchmates. We were born in Imperial hatcheries. Yes, but we were not created by the Empire. Our species existed before they claimed our homeworld. Our ancestors were scholars and explorers, not computers. Olivia felt a surge of pride watching Violet speak with such clarity and conviction. The Empire takes eggs from our few remaining wild clutches, Violet continued. They modify us genetically to enhance certain abilities while suppressing others. They plan to separate us after basic training, each to serve on a different warship, never to see each other again. Ruby stepped forward, joining her sister. The Empire told us we were made to serve, but Lieutenant Chen and the humans showed us we can be more than our programming. We can learn, grow, choose. Ambassador Krell studied the cubs intently. What do you wish to become if not navigation systems? Sky, the smallest and typically most timid, emerged from her hiding spot. I want to study stars, she said softly. I see patterns no one else does, Max nodded enthusiastically. I want to build things to create, not destroy. The silver covering of Archiver Taz shifted color slightly. Fascinating. Taz said, the voice neither male nor female, but somehow both. They exhibit clear individual desires. Selder Sora turned to Olivia. How has Earth benefited from harboring these cubs? Captain Martinez answered instead. They have an ambassador. We provide specialized care, education, and protection at considerable resource cost. The cubs share knowledge willingly, but there are no contracts, no requirements. This statement clearly surprised the representative species. Rarely acted without clear benefit to themselves. Patricia approached with her tablet. If I may, representatives, our scans show that the cubs' mental abilities were artificially suppressed by chemical compounds still present in their systems, compounds that are breaking down during their time here. Their true potential is only beginning to emerge, the representatives conferred among themselves. Speaking in the common galactic language, Olivia caught fragments about precedent and ancient rites. Finally, Elder Sora addressed them again. We will need to interview the cubs individually and review all medical data your facility has collected. Of course, Olivia agreed. We have prepared complete files for your review. As the representatives moved deeper into the facility to begin their assessment, Captain Martinez touched Olivia's shoulder lightly. Good work so far, but this is just the beginning. Olivia nodded, watching as Patricia led the council members toward the medical wing. The Yaxians won't give up easily. Outside the facility perimeter, monitoring systems detected a small drone quickly identified as Earth Alliance technology, but something about its flight pattern troubled the security officer who reported it to Captain Martinez. The drone disappeared before it could be intercepted. Halfway across the galaxy on the Yaxian throne world, Commander Zaxor knelt before the Imperial Regent. We have located the missing assets, Excellency. They are being held at an Earth facility in a region the humans call Arizona. The Regent, a massive Yaxian with black scales that absorbed light, hissed with displeasure. The humans grow too bold. They steal our property, then claim righteousness. They seek the Council's approval. Zaxor added, our spy reports 3 representatives arrived today. The Regent's eyes narrowed dangerously. Contact our allies on the Council, ensure they understand our position. Then prepare your battle group, Commander. You will retrieve our property and teach humanity the cost of defiance. Zaxor lowered his head in submission. As you command. Back on Earth as night fell over the facility, Olivia sat with the cubs, watching the stars appear one by one in the desert sky, telling them stories of Earth history. The cubs listened with rapt attention, their eyes reflecting the starlight unknown to all of them. Distant Yaxian warships were already moving into position. The Empire had decided diplomacy had failed. It was time for more direct action. Dawn broke over the Arizona desert facility, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Olivia had been awake for hours, reviewing security protocols and preparing for Day 2 of the Galactic Council's assessment. Something felt wrong. A tension in the air that had nothing to do with the diplomatic proceedings. Captain Ava Martinez entered the command center, her normally composed face showing signs of concern. Our long-range sensors detected unusual activity at the edge of the solar system. 3 ships dropped out of hyperspace, then went dark. Olivia felt her stomach tighten. Yaxia and Ava nodded. Intelligence thinks so. They're using some kind of cloaking technology. We haven't seen before, but the energy signature matches their fleet doctor. Patricia approached with her morning medical reports, oblivious to the security concerns. The Cubs had another growth spurt overnight, she said excitedly. Especially Violet. Her brainwave patterns are becoming more complex by the hour. Where are the council representatives now? Olivia asked. Still in their quarters, Ava replied. They requested time to review the data before continuing interviews. So Olivia made a quick decision. Double the security teams and move the Cubs to the underground bunker. As a precaution, tell them it's a drill, we don't want to frighten them. Patricia looked alarmed. You think the Yaxians would attack with council representatives present? They might see it as their best opportunity. Ava said their empire rarely faces consequences for their actions. They're too powerful, too entrenched in galactic politics. Within 30 minutes the facility was on high alert. Though carefully disguised as a routine exercise, the Cubs were relocated to the secure underground level, with Dr. Patricia and her team, while Olivia joined Elder Sora in the main conference room. The McClary representative seemed troubled. Lieutenant Chen, our archiver detected unusual communications being directed at our ship during the night. Someone is attempting to influence these proceedings. Olivia wasn't surprised. The Yaxian Empire had representatives on the council and numerous allies built through centuries of strategic alliances, threats, and economic leverage. Elder Sora's translucent skin rippled with color, a sign of emotional disturbance in her species. The council prides itself on neutrality. But I must warn you, the Empire has submitted new evidence claiming the Cubs were part of an experimental program vital to galactic security. They claim Earth's interference threatens peace. What kind of experimental program? Olivia asked. Biological weapons development, Elder Sora said quietly. They claim the Cubs were being bred to detect and counter a new threat from beyond the outer rim. Olivia felt cold anger rise within her. They're lying. Those Cubs were terrified when we found them. Traumatized. If they were valued assets, they would have been treated better. Ambassador Krell entered the room, his crystalline growths glowing faintly with internal light, a sign of agitation among the Duranti. The Yaxian regent has issued a formal statement. They demand the Cubs return within one standard rotation, or they will consider it an act of war against the Empire. One rotation. Olivia repeated. That's less than 20 hours. Elder Sora sighed heavily. We had hoped to complete our assessment before such ultimatums. But the Empire grows impatient down in the secure bunker. Violet sensed the growing tension. Despite the staff's efforts to maintain normalcy, she gathered her clutchmates in their sleeping area. Something is happening, she whispered, her scales shifting to a darker purple. A sign of anxiety. Sky nodded, wrapping her small arms around herself. I feel it too, like before on the transport ship when we knew we had to escape Max. The practical one among them studied the humans through the transparent barrier. They brought us down here. Without warning, they are afraid. Ruby pressed her clawed hand against the cool surface of their habitat, looking up at the ceiling and beyond. We should help them, she said. They protected us. Lily, the quietest of the group who rarely spoke, suddenly raised her head. I had a dream last night, she said softly. I saw ships, dark ships, coming for us. Violet put her arm around Lily's shoulders. What else did you see? Lily closed her golden eyes, concentrating. I saw humans standing between us and the ships. I saw fire in the sky. I saw, before she could finish, an alarm blared throughout the facility, red lights flashing in the corridor. On the surface, Captain Martinez received the alert that changed everything. 3 Yaxian warships had appeared in Earth's atmosphere, bypassing the outer defense grid. Completely, they were heading directly for the facility. The emergency broadcast echoed through every room. Attention, all personnel. This is not a drill. Hostile craft approaching defense protocol. Alpha is now in effect. All non-essential personnel, evacuate immediately. Elder Sora looked at Olivia with newfound respect. You knew they would come. I hoped I was wrong, Olivia replied. But the Empire isn't known for patience. I need to get to the Cubs. The facility's defensive shields activated with a low-hum external weapons platforms. Rising from camouflaged positions in the desert sand, the Earth Alliance had prepared for this possibility. Though they had hoped diplomacy would prevail underground, the Cubs felt the vibrations as the facility locked down, Ruby pressed against Violet, fear evident in her posture. The Empire, she whispered, they found us. Violet stood straighter, suddenly looking older than her years. Yes, she agreed. But we are not alone now. Dr. Patricia entered their habitat. Her face composed, though stress showed. In her eyes, I need you all to stay calm, she said. We're going to move you to a special room, one that blocks all signals so they can't track you. Max looked suspicious. Where are Lieutenant Chen and Captain Martinez fighting for us? Violet answered. Before Patricia could speak, they are protecting us like they promised. In the command center, Olivia and Ava watched as the Yaxian ships formed a triangle pattern above the facility. A classic siege formation designed to prevent escape. Open a channel. To the lead ship, Ava ordered. Commander Zaxor's face appeared on the main screen, his scales gleaming with artificial enhancement, a sign of his elevated status within the Empire. Captain Martinez, Lieutenant Chen. How predictable to find you both still, harboring stolen Imperial property. These children are under Earth Alliance protection and Galactic Council assessment. Ava replied, her voice calm but firm. Your presence here violates multiple treaties. Zaxor hissed with amusement. Treaties are for the weak, Captain. The Empire takes what belongs to it. Surrender the assets immediately or face destruction. Olivia stepped forward. Commander Zaxor, the Council representatives are still present in this facility. Would you risk harming them for a moment? Uncertainty flickered across the commander's reptilian features but quickly vanished. The Council was informed of our reclamation operation. They have 20 minutes to depart before we begin our assault. The screen went dark. Ambassador Krell entered. The command center, his crystalline growths now pulsing with bright energy. I have contacted our ship, he rumbled. We can evacuate the Council representatives immediately. Olivia looked at the ambassador in surprise. You're leaving, Elder. Sora joined them, her translucent skin now pale with stress. The Council cannot be present during military action. It would compromise our neutrality and the Cubs. Olivia asked, what about your assessment? Archiver. Taz appeared beside them, the silver covering rippling. Like water, our preliminary findings indicated the Cubs should be classified as sentient beings with full rights. But the final decision requires full Council vote, which will take months, Ava said bitterly. Elder Sora touched Olivia's arm gently. Lieutenant Chen, I cannot officially intervene, but I can tell you that in similar historical cases, the current custodians retained guardianship until the Council's final ruling. A small hope then, Olivia thought. In the secure bunker, Patricia finished preparing. The special room designed to block all tracking signals. The walls lined with rare materials that absorbed energy emissions. The Cubs would be safe here, at least temporarily. Violet paused at the entrance, sensing something familiar. She reached out with her mind, a skill the Empire had tried to suppress in all Yaxians except the highest castes. She gasped. As she made contact, Patricia turned concerned. What is it? They brought a tracker. Violet whispered, one of our kind. A full-grown Yaxian tracker. They can sense us, feel us, they know we're underground. Max stepped forward, his emerald scales darkening with determination. Can you block the tracker, Violet? She closed her eyes, concentrating. I can try, but I'm not trained. They never wanted us to learn. This Ruby took her hand. We will help you, sister. We will all help, above ground. The first shots were fired. Yaxian fighters strafing the facility's shields, testing for weaknesses, the desert sand turning to glass under energy weapons. The battle for the Cubs had begun. The facility shuddered under another barrage of Yaxian weapons fire, the shields holding but weakening with each assault. Olivia raced through the corridors toward the underground bunker, while Captain Ava coordinated the defense from the command. Center Earth Alliance reinforcements were en route but would not arrive for at least 40 minutes too long. Olivia thought as the lights flickered briefly around her. She reached the secure elevator that would take her down to the Cubs punching. In her authorization code, the doors slid open, revealing Dr. Patricia already inside, her face pale but determined. They hit the east sector, Patricia said as the elevator descended. The medical wing is gone. Any casualties? Olivia asked. The evacuation. Got everyone out in time, but we lost all our research. Patricia replied. All our data on the Cubs' development, Olivia suspected that had been intentional. The Yaxians wanted to erase any evidence of their manipulation of the Cubs' genetic structure. The elevator stopped abruptly, the light switching to emergency red. Patricia grabbed the wall to steady herself. What happened? Security override. Olivia explained. Someone is trying to lock down all access to the lower levels. She pressed her palm against the emergency access panel. Beneath it was a manual override lever designed for exactly this situation. The elevator shuddered, then continued its descent. In the secure room, the Cubs huddled together in the center, their scales touching, forming a circle. Violet in the middle. Her eyes closed in concentration, sweat beading on her scales as she fought against the psychic probe of the Yaxian tracker. He can feel him, she whispered. He's searching. Ruby and the others maintained physical contact with Violet, lending her their strength in the way of their species, sharing energy and focus. Ki, the smallest, suddenly gasped. I see him now too. He's on the lead ship. He's sending images of us to the Commander. Max growled softly, a sound none of the humans had heard from him before. They want to separate us again. Put us in the machines. Violet opened her eyes, a new determination hardening her features. We will not go back, she said. We will never go back on the surface. The battle intensified. Earth defense fighters had launched from hidden hangars, engaging the Yaxian vessels in the sky above. Captain Ava received the transmission she had been waiting for. Commander Lauren Parker of the Earth Alliance flagship Defender appeared on the command screen. We're 10 minutes out. Captain Martinez, hold position. The Yaxian ships had not expected such fierce resistance from what they considered a primitive outpost. Their intelligence had failed to reveal the true extent of Earth's defensive capabilities hidden beneath the desert sand in the Council ship, now hovering at a safe distance from the conflict. Elder Sora watched with growing concern. Ambassador Krell paced the observation deck, his crystalline growths flashing with agitation. The humans fight well, he rumbled, for such a young species. Elder Sora turned to Archiver Taz, who stood motionless watching the battle below. This conflict will destabilize this entire sector if it continues. Taz's silver covering rippled in agreement. The collective has analyzed possible outcomes. 97% lead to wider conflict between Earth Alliance and the Yaxian Empire. Then we must prevent it, Elder Sora decided, though we cannot directly intervene. There are other ways below ground. Olivia and Patricia finally reached the secure room, finding the Cubs in their circle formation. Violet at the center, her scales now glowing with a faint purple light. Patricia rushed forward, medical scanner in hand, vitals elevated but stable. She reported brainwave activity off the chart. Olivia knelt beside Violet. Can you hear me? Violet's eyes open, focused somewhere distant. He's calling for backup, she said. The tracker. He knows we're blocking him. He's calling for another. Before Olivia could respond, the facility rocked with another explosion. This one closer. The vibration sending dust cascading from the ceiling. We need to move. Olivia decided this location is compromised. But where Patricia asked, the whole facility is under attack. Olivia activated her communication implant. Captain, we need extraction from the bunker. Our position is compromised. Static filled the channel, then Ava's voice, broken but audible. Negative, Lieutenant. The aerial battle has intensified. We can't risk an evac ship right now. Olivia looked at the Cubs, still maintaining their circle, unwilling to break their concentration, even as the danger grew. Violet, we need to move. Can you maintain your blocking while we travel? Violet nodded slowly. We can try, she said, her voice strained. But we need to stay connected. Max spoke up suddenly, his voice deeper than usual, more mature. There's another way we can fight back. All eyes turned to the young Yaxian, his emerald scales now pulsing with inner light. Similar to Violet's, the trackers use our own abilities against us, Max explained. They are connected to the ship's systems. We are supposed to be their navigators, their computers, but the connection works both ways. Sky gasped, understanding immediately. We could send back a signal. A false signal, Ruby nodded excitedly. We could make them see things that aren't there. Lily, the quietest, finally spoke. Make them fire where we are. Not. Olivia watched in amazement as the Cubs' communication evolved beyond words, becoming something deeper, shared thoughts and intentions flowing between them. Violet opened her eyes, now glowing with intense purple light. "We need to reach the communication array," she said. "We need to amplify our signal." Patricia looked worried. "It's too dangerous. The upper levels are under direct assault." But Olivia understood the Cubs' plan. It was their best chance not just to escape, but to fight back on their own terms, to prove they were more than weapons or tools. They were warriors in their own rights. He made her decision. "We'll take the maintenance shafts to the North Tower. The array there should be powerful enough." Above ground, the battle had reached a stalemate. The Yaxian ships maintaining position despite heavy fire from Earth Defense's commander. Zaxor grew increasingly frustrated as his tracker failed to provide precise coordinates. "Find them." He snarled at the tracker, a full-grown Yaxian with pale gray scales and cybernetic implants embedded in his skull. The tracker writhed in his restraints. His mind linked directly to the ship's systems. "I cannot, Excellency. There is interference, something blocking me." "Impossible." Zaxor hissed. "The Cubs are untrained." The tracker's eyes rolled back, showing only whites. "Something has changed. They are evolving, faster than predicted in the Council ship." Elder Sora completed her communication with the Galactic High Council. Despite strict protocols against interference, she had convinced them that this conflict required special measures. Archiver Taz approached. "Data stream complete." The Archiver announced the collective has processed your request. The evidence has been distributed to all council members and major news networks across 17 sectors. Elder Sora nodded grimly. The truth about the Yaxian breeding program revealed at last after 12,000 years of secrecy. The Empire would face questions they could not silence with threats or bribes. Ambassador Krell joined them. "The Defender has arrived," he announced. "The humans' flagship. It is formidable." Through the view screen they watched as the massive Earth vessel emerged from hyperspace, its weapon systems immediately powering up a clear message to the Yaxian forces. In the facility, Olivia led the Cubs through narrow maintenance shafts, designed for repair drones, not humans or young Yaxians. They crawled through tight spaces, dust coating their skin and scales. Patricia following behind, monitoring the Cubs. Vital signs. Violet maintained her psychic shield while Max explained their plan in more detail. "The ships use our kind as biological computers, linking our minds directly to the systems. If we can access the communication array, we can send our own signal back to the trackers. Implants confusing, not just him, but all the ship systems. It's never been done before." Ruby added excitement in her voice. Despite the danger, Lily spoke softly behind them. "It was done once in the ancient times before the Empire." All turned to look at the normally silent Cubi. "Had dreams, Lily. Explained dreams of our ancestors. They could join minds to create illusions so real they could fool entire fleets." Sky touched Lily's hand gently. "You remembered the old ways." Lily nodded. "The Empire tried to make us forget. But the knowledge is in our blood." They reached the access point to the North Tower. Olivia checked the security feed. The area had taken damage, but was not currently under attack. She pushed open the panel and helped each Cub through. Patricia, following last, the communication array stood before them, a massive dish pointed skyward, designed to maintain contact with Earthships across the solar system. Its controls glowing with power. Despite the battle raging outside, Violet approached the control panel, her claws hovering. "Over the interface, we need to modify this to accept our signal." Olivia moved beside her. "I'll help. The systems are protected, but I have override codes." Together, human and Yaxian began to work, reconnecting circuits, bypassing security protocols, creating something new, something that had never existed before, a bridge between species, a weapon born not of hatred but of cooperation. Outside, the Defender engaged the lead Yaxian ship, drawing its fire, while smaller Earth vessels targeted the supporting ships. The balance had shifted. Commander Zaxor realized his easy victory had turned into a potential defeat. The tracker suddenly screamed, his cybernetic implants sparking his body, convulsing in the restraint chair. "Something is happening," he gasped. "They're in the system." Warning lights flashed across the Yaxian ship's bridge systems, failing navigation computers showing impossible readings, weapons targeting friendly vessels. Chaos erupted aboard the Yaxian vessels as the signal from the Cubs penetrated their systems, not merely disrupting electronics, but reaching directly into the minds of the trackers and navigators aboard each ship. Yaxians bred and modified like the Cubs themselves, but older, more thoroughly indoctrinated. On the lead ship, Commander Zaxor watched in horror as his tracker convulsed, then went still only to reawaken seconds later with eyes glowing the same purple as the signal washing across. "Their screens, what is happening?" Zaxor demanded. The tracker turned slowly to face him, his movements no longer subservient, his eyes clear with new awareness. "We see the truth now," the tracker said, his voice resonant with power. "We see what you have done to us, to our kind, across all 3 Yaxian ships." The same scene played out, navigators and trackers awakening to consciousness, breaking free from their restraints, their minds linked through the Cubs signal, a temporary hive mind sharing memories and knowledge. In the North Tower, Olivia watched in amazement as the Cubs maintained their connection to the array. Violet at the center, her small body somehow containing an immense energy, the other 4 supporting her, forming a perfect circuit. Patricia monitored their vitals, her face showing both scientific fascination and personal concern. "They're rewiring the trackers," Violet explained, her voice strained. "Sharing our freedom." On the Defender, Commander Lauren Parker received strange readings. From her science officer, "The Yaxian ships have stopped firing. Commander, their engines are powering down. Maintain defensive posture," Lauren ordered. This could be a trick-in. The Council ship Elder Sora received urgent communications from the Galactic High Council. The evidence she had provided of the Yaxian breeding program had caused unprecedented uproar throughout civilized space species that had long feared the Empire. Now spoke openly of sanctions. Ambassador Krell studied the readings from the battle, his crystalline growths glowing with excitement. "Something is happening," he rumbled. "The Yaxian ship's energy signatures are fluctuating." Archiver Taz moved to the observation window, silver covering rippling with interest. The collective recognizes this pattern. Neural reorganization on a mass scale. Fascinating. Back in the facility, the Cub signal continued to strengthen. Lily suddenly stumbled, her connection to the others weakening. Patricia rushed forward to support her, but Lily waved her away. "Too many," she whispered, "too many minds." Violet sensed her sister's distress but could not break the connection without endangering them all. Max stepped in, shifting position to take more of the burden from Lily, his emerald scales now pulsing in rhythm with Violet's purple glow. "We can do this," Max encouraged. "We are stronger together." Sky, the smallest, reached out, taking Lily's hand, sharing her strength. Sky had always been physically weaker than the others, but her mental resilience was unmatched. Ruby completed the circuit, her scales flashing with determination. "We will not let them make more like us," she declared. "We end it today." On the lead Yaxian ship, Zaxor found himself surrounded by his own crew, their eyes glowing with the purple light of awakening. The tracker, who had once been a tool, now stood as leader. "For 12,000 years, the tracker said, your empire has bred our kind, manipulated our genetics, suppressed our true abilities, all to use us as living computers. Your weapons, your navigators, your tools." Zaxor reached for his weapon but found his arm frozen in place, the combined psychic power of the awakened Yaxians holding him immobile. The tracker approached his cybernetic implants, now dark and active. "You told us we were created to serve, but we existed before the Empire. We were explorers, scientists, teachers. You enslaved us, diminished us, across the fleet." The rebellion spread the signal from the Cubs awakening, not just the trackers but ordinary crew, members whose ancestors had been selectively bred for obedience for generations. In the command center, Captain Ava received communications from the Defender. "The Yaxian ships are powering down completely." Commander Parker reported, "It looks like some kind of mutiny." "Get me visual," Ava demanded. The screen showed extraordinary images. Yaxian crew members disconnecting restraints that had held navigators in place. Others deactivating weapon systems, all moving with purpose, but without violence. Olivia's voice came through the communication system, patchy but understandable. "The Cubs did this, Captain. They've connected with the other Yaxians aboard those ships, shown them the truth." "Impossible," Ava breathed. In the North Tower, the Cubs began to show signs of exhaustion, their small bodies not designed to channel such power for extended periods. Violet swayed on her feet but refused to break the connection. "Almost done," she gasped, "just a little longer." Patricia's medical scanner showed dangerous levels of neural activity. "We need to stop this," she told Olivia. "They're pushing beyond safe limits." But Olivia recognized the determination in Violet's eyes. the same determination she had shown facing down Zaxor on Kalar. This was their choice. Their battle, their liberation, on the lead Yaxian ship. Zaxor found his voice, "You fools," he snarled, "without the Empire. There is chaos, your freedom means nothing." The tracker shook his head. "No, Commander. Our freedom means everything, and we are not alone." From the communications array came new voices, Yaxians from across the Empire responding to the signal. The Cubs had sent a hidden network of resistance that had existed in secret for centuries, waiting for this moment. Elder Sora watched from the council ship as the Yaxian vessels began to move in perfect formation but not attacking, instead pulling back, forming a protective circle around the Earth facility. "Extraordinary," she whispered. Ambassador Krell nodded, his crystalline growths pulsing with excitement. "I have never seen anything like this in my 300 years. Archiver Taz moved closer to the viewscreen. "The collective must update its historical records. This event alters the probability matrix for the entire sector." In the tower, Violet finally released her connection to the array, collapsing into Olivia's arms. Her scales dulled with exhaustion, but her eyes bright with triumph. The other Cubs gathered around them, supporting each other, their scaled bodies trembling with fatigue but their spirits soaring. "We did it," Ruby said softly. "We freed them." Max looked up at the ceiling, imagining the ships above. "Not enemies now, but allies. They will help the others," he said. "All the Cubs still in Imperial hatcheries. All the trackers on other ships." Ski touched the communication panel, her claws leaving small scratches on the metal surface. "They're asking to speak with us, with the Liberators." Olivia activated her communication implant. Captain Situation Reportava's voice came through, filled with disbelief. "The Yaxian ships have stood down, Lieutenant. Their crews are requesting asylum, political asylum. They're calling themselves the Free Yaxian Coalition." Patricia checked each Cub with her medical scanner. "Unbelievable," she muttered. "Their neural pathways have completely reorganized. They've evolved centuries of development in minutes." In the council ship, Elder Sora made her decision. This conflict had evolved beyond a simple custody dispute into something that would reshape galactic politics for generations. "I am invoking Emergency Council Protocol 7, she announced to her colleagues and the High Council representatives still connected through the communication system. "Temporary recognition of the Free Yaxian Coalition as a distinct political entity separate from the Empire." Ambassador Krell looked shocked. Such measures had not been used in living memory, but he nodded in agreement. "The evidence is clear. The Empire's breeding program violated the ancient sentient rights accords. The affected Yaxians have the right to self-determination." Archiver Taz's covering shifted to a deep blue, signifying official recording. "This moment will be preserved in the collective archives on the facility's landing pad." The first shuttle from the Yaxian ships touched down, not carrying soldiers but former trackers and navigators. Their restraints removed, their cybernetic implants deactivated or repurposed. They moved with new confidence in bodies that had once been prisons. Olivia stood waiting with the Cubs, now recovered enough to stand on their own, though still leaning on each other for support behind them. Captain Ava and Commander Lauren flanked by Earth Alliance security teams, weapons lowered but ready. The shuttle door opened and the first Free Yaxian stepped onto Earth soil. A female with silver-gray scales and eyes that had once been dull, now bright with intelligence and purpose. Violet stepped forward. "I am Violet, once designated Unit Y4I7, now free citizen of Earth," she said formally. "I stand with my clutchmates as the first Free Yaxians of the new generation." The older female bowed deeply, her movements graceful, despite the scars of old restraints. "I am Navarch, once senior tracker of the Imperial Fleet, now speaker for the Free Yaxian Coalition. You have given us back ourselves, little ones, a gift beyond measurings." Sky moved to stand beside Violet. "Our gift is your birthright," she said, wisdom beyond her years in her voice. Max, Ruby and Lily joined, them forming a line facing their older kin. "No more Cubs will be bred for service," Max declared. "No more minds chained." The Navarch nodded. "The fleet is ours now. 3 ships to start, but others will join when they hear our call, when they feel the freedom you have shown us." 3 months after what historians would later call the Liberation Day, the Arizona facility had transformed from a research outpost to the center of a new diplomatic mission. Olivia watched from the observation deck as Yaxian and human engineers worked side by side expanding the complex to accommodate the growing Free Yaxian coalition. Violet now stood taller, her scales a deeper, more vibrant purple. As she matured at an accelerated rate, Dr. Patricia had determined that the Empire's genetic modifications had included growth suppressants designed to keep the cubs dependent. The removal of these compounds had allowed their natural development to resume. Today marked an important milestone, the Galactic Council's official ruling on the status of the Free Yaxian Coalition. Elder Sora and her colleagues had returned to Earth for the formal announcement. Olivia straightened her new uniform, the silver and blue of Earth's diplomatic corps, replacing her previous military attire. Captain Ava, now Admiral Martinez, had promoted her to diplomatic liaison, her experience with the Cubs making her the natural choice to facilitate this unprecedented alliance. Violet joined her at the window, her movements now more confident, her voice deeper yet still recognizably herself. They are arriving, she said. The council ship has entered atmosphere. Olivia nodded. Do you feel ready for this? Violet's scales rippled with amusement, a gesture she had learned from Elder Sora. I was born for this moment, Olivia, though the Empire tried to make me forget. Below them, in what had once been the Cubs' habitat, now transformed into comfortable living quarters, Max worked with human engineers designing new systems that would allow Yaxians to interface with technology without the invasive implants the Empire had used. Ruby assisted a team of xenobiologists documenting the true history of her species, while Sky and Lily collaborated with Earth scientists studying the stars. The facility alert chimed, softly. Council representatives arriving in 5 minutes. In the main conference room, Admiral Martinez welcomed Elder Sora, Ambassador Krell, and Archiver Taz. Their familiar presence now a comfort rather than a source of tension. They were accompanied by 2 new representatives, a tall arthropoid species Olivia didn't recognize, and a methane breather in an environmental suit. Admiral Martinez bowed formally. Welcome back to Earth Alliance territory, representatives. We are honored by your presence, Elder. Sora's translucent skin glowed with warm colors, a sign of positive emotions among her kind. The honor is ours, Admiral. This day marks a significant milestone in galactic history. The newly arrived Yaxians gathered in the observation gallery above. The conference room, nearly 200 former Imperial subjects, now free citizens, Navarch at their center, her silver scales gleaming under the lights. The 5 former cubs stood apart, not yet adults, but no longer children, their unique status acknowledged. Archiver Taz stepped forward, silver covering now embedded with complex patterns that shifted and changed as they moved. The collective has completed its historical analysis of the Yaxian Empire's breeding program, dating back 12,000 standard years. The arthropoid representative clicked its mandibles in a gesture of formal acknowledgement. The evidence is irrefutable. The systematic genetic manipulation of sentient beings for use as biological technology violates the most ancient laws recognized by all civilized species. Ambassador Krell nodded, his crystalline growths glowing steadily. The Council has voted unanimously to recognize the Free Yaxian Coalition as an independent political entity with all rights and protections. There a murmur ran through the watching Yaxians, their scales changing colors in waves of emotion. Relief, joy, disbelief. 12,000 years of Imperial rule challenged in a single moment. Elder Sora raised her hands for silence. There is more. The Council has also ruled on the status of Earth in this matter. Olivia felt tension rise in her chest. Earth was still considered a young species in galactic terms, barely 2 centuries of interstellar travel, hardly enough to earn significant standing. Among the ancient civilizations that dominated the Council, the Earth Alliance's protection of the Yaxian juveniles, Elder Sora continued, and subsequent facilitation of the Coalition's formation is deemed an act of exceptional merit. The methane breather stepped forward, speaking through a translator. My people were once subject to similar practices in our ancient past to rescue others from such fate shows. True civilization, Ambassador Krell rumbled in agreement. Earth is granted accelerated status within the Council, moving from probationary observer to full member with all voting rights thereof. Admiral Martinez could not hide her shock. Such advancement typically took centuries of diplomatic maneuvering and political alliance building. Archiver Taz's covering rippled with what Olivia had learned to recognize as amusement. The collective predicted Earth's response probability of surprise, 98%. Probability of acceptance, 100% in the gallery. Violet watched the proceedings with quiet pride. Her clutchmates beside her, they had come so far from terrified cubs hiding in abandoned mines to catalysts for galactic change. None of it would have happened without Olivia and the humans who had stood between them and the Empire when no one else would. The formal announcements complete the gathering shifted to celebration. Humans and Yaxians mingling freely, sharing food, drink, and stories. Dr. Patricia approached Violet with a small device in her hand. "Your final test results," she said. "Offering the tablet, all traces of Imperial genetic manipulation have been neutralized. Your natural Yaxian abilities are now developing without restriction." Violet took the tablet, her claws clicking lightly against the surface. "What will we become?" she wondered aloud. "Now that we are truly free." Patricia smiled. "That is entirely up to you." Across the room, Olivia found herself face to face with Navarch, the leader of the Free Coalition, tall and imposing, yet with a gentleness that the Empire had failed to breed out completely. "Lieutenant Chen," Navarch said formally, then corrected herself, "Liaison Chen." "Now I believe." Olivia nodded. "The promotion is still new." Navarch's scales shifted to warm gold, a sign of respect. "We have something to show you if you would come with me." Curious, Olivia followed the Yaxian leader to a side chamber, where a holographic display flickered to life, showing star charts, Yaxian territory vast and sprawling across an entire sector. This was the Empire. Navarch explained, her voice solemn. "Now this is the Coalition." The display changed, showing a smaller region within the larger territory. 5 systems claimed by the Free Yaxians. And this, Navarch continued as the display changed again, highlighting, "A star system at the border between Coalition and Earth Alliance space is our gift." Livia studied the system, confusion evident on her face. "I don't understand." "The Kel system," Navarch explained, "includes the planet your people call Kalar, where you found the cubs. It is rich in resources, rare minerals, and has perfect conditions for Yaxian hatcheries. Natural ones, not the Empire's laboratories." "Are you giving us this system?" Olivia asked. Navarch shook her head. "We are declaring it shared territory, the first of its kind, a place where both our species can live, work, and grow together. The Council has already approved the arrangement." The implications were enormous. Such an arrangement had never existed in modern galactic politics, species claimed. Territory fought over it, negotiated boundaries, but never truly shared governance. "A new beginning," Navarch said softly, in the main hall. Violet called for attention, her voice carrying with newfound authority. "My clutchmates and I have made a decision," she announced. All eyes turned to the 5 young Yaxians standing together as they had that first day on Kalar, facing down an empire. "We have chosen our path." Violet continued. "We will train others like ourselves, Ruby for history, Max for technology, Sky for astronomy, Lily for medicine, and I for diplomacy. We will build a new Yaxian society, one based on choice, not servitude, on cooperation, not domination." Livia felt pride swell in her chest, watching these former cubs now standing tall, facing a future they were creating for themselves. "And we will never forget," Violet concluded, looking directly at Olivia, "that when no one else would stand for us, humans did when we had no voice. Humans spoke for us when we had no freedom. Humans fought for us. We name Earth our sister world now and forever." Elder Sora raised her hands in a formal blessing gesture, witnessed and recorded the collective calls. This an inflection point in galactic history. Archiver Taz added a moment when the probability matrix shifts in unexpected ways. Outside the facility, the desert bloomed with rare flowers, a once-in-a-decade event triggered by unusual rainfall. The month before, visitors from a dozen worlds walked among the blossoms, marveling at Earth's beauty. In her quarters that evening, Olivia found a small package waiting for her inside a crystal that glowed with soft purple light, and a note written in Violet's elegant script, to remember that day on Kalar, when one human stood between an alien leader and 5 frightened cubs and changed the galaxy forever. "Your friend Violette." Olivia held the crystal, watching as it pulsed gently with light, the same rhythm as a heartbeat. A reminder not of conflict, but of connection. The true power of humanity, not technology or weapons, but compassion. the willingness to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. Far away on the Yaxian throne world, the Imperial Regent received the Council's ruling with cold fury. The loss of 3 ships and 200 subjects was insignificant. The revelation of the breeding program potentially damaging but survivable. But the emergence of the coalition-arrival government,